Namaskaram, welcome back to Him Talks. Today we have Mr.Sudhakar Garu, who has got a mechanical engineering degree and also he has done his mastering design thinking from MIT Sloan, and he has 2 decades of experience in branding, and currently he is working as the director of branding for ICFAI Group. Sir, welcome to Him Talks. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me here.
Sir, fundamentally, I'm starting with this Mastering Design Thinking program. In fact, design thinking has been given as one of the important skills to master by the World Economic Forum for the Future of Jobs report in 2022. And you did this a decade ago. So how did you think about it at that point of time?
Design thinking is a tool to solve problems. The biggest requirement in the world then and now in future will be problem solving. So every time students, teachers, learners from all generations will have to look at solving problems. How better you can solve problems using technology or even without technology. How better you keep yourself in the shoes of the consumer. For example, you are solving a problem in the society, you will have to keep yourself in the shoes of the citizen. The persons affected will have to be looked at, and you live the problem and you come up with a solution which is accepted by the community or accepted by the community of the consumers, if that be the case. So therefore, this is going to be a necessity for all the times, and I don't see this is going to be outdated anytime sooner.
Yes.
And learning design thinking itself is trying to keep yourself in the pack, but that's not enough.
Yeah.
One has to actually get down and solve problems.
Yes, sir. So talking about branding, what amount of branding has to do with perception management? Because if you look at the current scenario, everybody is getting into it, including the political scenario. So is it a good sign, or how does the end user cope up with this?
Perception management can be aligned and worked in a particular direction, and it has got a lot of meat.
Yes, sir.
Whether it is a political party, whether it is a consumer organization, whether it is a business-to-business organization, even if it is an NGO, everyone will have to do a perception management in my view. You do good work is one piece, and you tell the world that you are doing good work is another piece. We are in the second one with respect to your question. How do you tell the world that you do the good work? Without doing the good work, I will not advise them to actually tell the world.
Yes, sir.
So perception management is about an assumption that you are already doing some good work. If you have already done some good work, why don't you put in a little more effort and tell the world in a particular format, in a particular style? The other end of the side in the spectrum, there are consumers, there are common citizens, there are government bodies and other stakeholders who will be looking at you. It is a relationship with which you will continue your activities. Now, therefore, it is important for us to inform and manage your perception so that it is understood in the right manner. There are certain things which you have to do right, and there are certain things which you will have to say doing the right things.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So in terms of education, we always talk about the Cambridge, Oxford or MIT, and Indian universities are still struggling to find their place in the top 100, whereas we had Nalanda, Takshila, like even before world thought about education, we started there. So what is going wrong here? Why are we running to a different country for getting our degrees?
There are 2-3 issues which are fundamental to our failure here. It is not by accident that we are not figuring in the top 200 institutions in the world. It is by a serious lapse.
Yes, sir.
And therefore, we have to own up the responsibility. And the responsibility will be along the following lines. Number 1, the emphasis that we give for genuine research and the appreciation for research, not just in terms of monetization, but also in terms of value assigned for the time. For example, you are in an organization and the organization has a focus on research. And that fundamental research focus should be supported and encouraged by the powers that be in that organization or in that institution. If that is not done and it is seen as whiling away time, which is fundamentally the problem, then you will not have any value assigned to research or the time that I am putting on research, number one. Number two, once you value research, you will also bring the wherewithal. Wherewithal is in terms of the money that you spend on research. Research can be done jointly. It can be a funded research. You can actually collaborate with people abroad. You can collaborate with people in India. But then it costs. Apart from time, it costs money. So organizations and institutions will have to spend money on that. And the third and the most important thing is, those people who come up with research, on one hand, will have to be told that research should be useful to the society, not esoteric research. On the other side, we should say that we place highest premium on those who do research.
Yes, sir.
I think if these two things are happening, then I'm sure the research crucible will work very well for us. And having worked very well for us, I think it will take, say, if you're in a mission mode, in the next 5 to 7 years, we can hit into the top 200 institutions by focusing on it. Government of India is already doing by talking about institutions of eminence, but then for private institutions, they are not making any much contribution. For government institutions, they are funding a lot. I think they should also fund the private institutions which are in the institutions of eminence list, IOE. Once they do that and make that as a level playing field, that the government looks at all excellent institutions alike, irrespective of the genesis of the institution, then the output of the research will be useful and it will be useful to the country as a whole.
Yes, sir. So talking about education sector, how would you position ICFAI in this space? Like, how is it different and what exactly is the objective in terms of what it is doing?
ICFAI has started about 35 years back. I think somewhere in 1985 they started the journey, and right from day one the focus has been trying to give something different to the student. That drive to give something different resulted in innovation. Now innovation is giving a curriculum which is different and needed by the market. Number one. Number two, the delivery mechanism. The delivery mechanism has to be completely different. And number three, the drivers of delivery have to be totally different. Now, in a society where we are living, we will not get drivers for delivery who are going to be very different. But how are you going to mold them into our system and say that they are going to be a very different kind of delivery agents altogether? We have done that.
Yes, sir.
How did we do that? We have actually placed in front of them a very challenging curriculum based on the needs. It is an unexpressed need that we identified in the market, and we told them that we need to be ahead of the needs and prepare the students and the entire industry per se to, say, 10 years ahead always. And then that challenging task of curriculum to be delivered is placed in front of the teachers. And then those teachers have been identified and they are pushed to the maximum potential, and then they are prepared to deliver this particular curriculum. And the blend that we are giving is institutions and industry blend, which means no matter what you do, institutions sometimes stay behind industry. The pace is different. The phase difference is too much. So what we have done is the drivers of delivery are from industry themselves.
Yes.
And with experienced faculty members who are actually only in academic institutions. So when we have done this, that blend was working very well for us. Yes. So we have taken care of drivers of delivery, we have taken care of delivery points, we have taken care of what is to be delivered, that is the curriculum. And after a few years, after say 10 years of our existence, we started using technology as well. So innovation, technology, people, processes, and a great mission drive on which we were led to what we are today. So if you want me to compare ICFAI to others, in my own words, ICFAI is a highly conservative, knowledge-oriented, learning-centric institution. We are very serious.
Yes, sir.
Period.
So conservative sounds a bit interesting because ICFAI is said to be very innovative and flexible, and why conservative here?
Conservative is because we understand education. We are not into training, we are into education. Education prepares you for life. training is a module that prepares you for a high jump or a low jump, whatever may be the case.
Yes, sir.
Whereas education prepares you for life. Conservatism is to uphold certain values while keeping pace with technology on a different facet altogether.
Yes, sir.
So conservatism will give you the seriousness and the serious focus on the job at hand. We are conservative because we don't deviate from the set agenda. We are conservative because we don't do any other business other than education. We are conservative because we are very much grounded to the core values of Indian education system. We are conservative because we don't go to the rooftop and shout that we are great or something like that. We do our business, we go home. We are conservative because we are taken very, very seriously, and we would like to be taken seriously in the years to come.
Very good, sir. So now talking about a personal profile, so you're heading branding for the entire group, which includes 11 ICFAI universities, 9 ICFAI business schools, 7 tech schools, law schools, and also the flexible learning program. And talking about your education, again, mechanical engineering, you did PGM from IIM Bangalore and then from MIT Sloan. So how did you build your career? Is it planned, or did one thing led to the other? Or if you have to connect the dots of all of this, what's your say on this?
Okay, fine. That's a good question, actually. I never thought about it, but let me think right now. Thanks to my parents, we were educated in some of the best institutions in the state and the district and the country.
Yeah.
It's totally because of the parents. When I studied in the school, I always thought that I'm studying in the best school in my district. When I was studying in my college, I was studying in the best engineering college in my state. And when I studied my PG, obviously I thought I am studying in the best business school in the country. And when I did my mastering in design thinking, I thought I am studying from one of the best design thinking schools in the world. So that has given me a little bit of confidence, and it helped me continue with my pursuit of learning, and the learning stayed with us. That is number one. Number two, nothing has happened by accident. My own father had placed quite an expectation on me. Just to tell you emotionally, he used to discuss with his friends about me, and he used to tell them about me that when I was in, say, 7th or 8th grade, that this guy will go to London, something like that, or this guy will make big. It was at a distance that I could hear clearly, but it was not talking directly to me,
yes,
but it was aimed at me.
Wonderful.
I think a large part of my confidence building measures and everything, a large part of the credit goes to my father, and he has crafted the expectation and the journey quite well. So it was not by accident. We were doing very good in studies, naturally, and I continued to study, and I will continue to do more and more programs as and when. I would like to do more courses in diversity and inclusiveness. I would like to study more about technology. I would like to study more about branding. I would like to probably dabble with a few more technologies in education, problem solving, those technologies which will help solve day-to-day problems in life. I think learning angle will continue, no matter I finished a couple of decades in my journey already, but then a lot to learn. All of us will have to learn quite a bit, and I would like to be called as a learner than a teacher, as a practitioner than a professional.
Wonderful. Sir, this question is, I'm asking this question on behalf of all the millennials and the entrepreneurs. Let's say he is the branding guru, and he is somebody who captured the aspirations of the modern people, I would say, instead of technology. Now, if somebody starting in 2020 is starting his company, can we actually look up to it as a reference model, at a benchmark, or is it one of a time, or how do we proceed forward? If I had to connect the dots looking forward.
Yeah. No. In fact, the terms human intelligence mastery defines the answer that you have elicited from me. In a way, what Steve Jobs has done will stay with us as an inspiration forever. Number two, that's not an accident.
Okay.
It can be replicated.
Okay.
All you have to check, those entrepreneurs like you and others will have to check only one thing. Do you have it in you or not?
Yes, sir.
Do you have the drive in you or not? Now, that unquestionable, undaunting, relentless drive for perfection is something which is going to differentiate a startup like you or any other from others. A startup has the greatest potential to realign and drive your organization compared to an established organization. Established organizations will not be able to realign themselves. They are not malleable. They are not adaptable. Whereas startups can do it. So the spirit taken from Steve Jobs and the size and the agility of the organization of a startup is a potent combination for doing wonders. I think branding is something which is going to always stay ahead, which is going to be very, very important. My advice to startups is, number one, think of the consumer. You are in technology, no doubt about it. Think of the consumer. Think of acquiring more consumers, more customers. Don't play to the tunes of your investors. Of course, you have to talk to the investors, but it should not be like you're talking more to the investors and less to the customers.
Yes,
that's not done. I think you need to keep that in mind. And branding is extremely important.
Yes, sir.
Over romanticization of technology is on one extreme, and branding is on the other side. I would request everyone to start working on branding right from day zero.
Okay, sir.
You need to manage how you're going to be perceived.
Yes, sir.
It's not very costly. Not doing branding in the right direction is going to be costly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, as a follow-up question, this is coming personally from me. When you're starting something, there are a lot of initial difficulties, and the difficulties keep increasing. But what's a reality check or what's a self-check? For example, if I had to go give my own example, I had a couple of qualifications, cleared CA at 21, worked with EY, and I had opportunity cost which is insane.
Correct.
Then spending a lot of time into this. But what could be a self-check? Because my wife is pregnant right now. Delivery is due in another 10 days. But at every point of time, I'm pushing myself harder that you're going in the right direction. But how exactly do we get a reality check, or what is the line for those sacrifices which you are making initially? So how do we know that?
Again, a brilliant question. One very important reality check for you is, are you having sleepless nights? Now we analyze that sleepless nights. There are two possibilities. One is you don't know why you're not getting sleep. The second thing is you are awake because there is an incessant flow of ideas in your mind hitting.
Yes, sir.
If it is the second one, you're in the right direction.
Okay.
If it is the first one, we can talk again.
I think I'm in the second group, yes.
Fantastic. You are in the right place.
And what should I say to my wife, or my family for that matter? That it's easy to convince ourselves, but the family part, they don't see him as I see it. So,
see, very, very fortunately, the families in our country, in our great country, with our cultural ethos, they are born with a great deal of absorption capacity, which is much beyond what you and I can fathom. Believe me, the lady at home is able to understand your difficulties much better than you yourself can understand. Believe me. Number two, they are powerhouses of motivation.
absolutely, sir.
And you just be open and keep talking to them. You don't have to have any business plan to be shared with her. The him need not share with her any business plan. Okay. Share your difficulties.
Yes, sir.
Treat the partner of life as partner of all your adventures. This is one of them.
Yes, sir.
Just keep sharing. No format, no timing, no hesitation. Where else you will get that kind of partner?
Absolutely, sir.
You keep bombarding, no issues. And there is a great deal of absorption capacity, as I said, on the other side. And that absorption capacity is like this. It's like the mothering facility that you have got.
Yes, sir.
Not just the mother to your child,
Yeah.
but mothering abilities are ingrained in you when you talk more and more to the lady at home.
Absolutely.
I think that's the lady need not be staying at home. I don't mean that she's not working.
I get it.
In spite of working, they're great at multitasking. They will do their own work. They will take care of the child. They'll take care of the child in you and the you.
Yes, sir.
All.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, if I have to add one more line, my wife is a doctor.
See?
Let's say she has a different ecosystem. If that is the case, as an entrepreneur, she wouldn't be having a lot of bandwidth for herself. So this is a new problem which is coming in this era. So two people having two different professions, working on those goals. That's the reason why there are more issues coming up. So what should we do here? Especially our grandmothers and parents are not accessible. I think we are into it.
No. If you really analyze, I can answer about even grandparents and grandmothers and all those things a little later.
Yeah.
But women, as I told you just some time back, women are born entrepreneurs.
Yes, sir.
And what is entrepreneurship? Risk taking and ownership. They get married to one guy and they take ownership of that guy, and the decision to marry that guy is the risk taking. And any entrepreneur, whether he is working for himself or working for somebody else, supposing I get a job as a chartered accountant in an organization, you'll have to take the ownership of the job.
Yes,
do it as if it's yours. And also you have to take some risks, otherwise you will not grow. So entrepreneurship is inborn to ladies. Now you're talking about having divergent professions. There's always going to be a scarcity of time and money and energy.
Yes.
And the biggest fuel for time, money and energy is the spirit that you will be able to go ahead, and the belief that there is somebody who can actually listen to you, and the devil's advocate is at home.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So I think you should believe in that. Once you believe and offload your tensions, it's fine. And also be ready, whenever she is ready to offload to you, don't go mad. Okay?
Sir, in the last 2 or 3 minutes, you have solved an important problem which is going to stay for the next 2-3 years of my life or somebody at this junction. So how can more people, how can more individuals or entrepreneurs have access to this? Because you are a storehouse, a powerhouse of solutions. So we want to extract more of the solutions. We want to work on a particular platform where I understand that your 3 minutes or 5 minutes is very costly for us, but this has an effect of saving somebody's time in terms of months. And so is there something we can do about this?
Excellent. We can always do something about it. And it can be done in the following ways.
Yes, sir.
Identify all the problem areas in your neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Identify all the problem areas in the neighborhood among the people that you know, and let me know.
Yes, sir.
We will schedule how to look at their problems. Wow. At least I will have the pleasure of understanding their problems. The second one is, you forget what kind of solutions come from me. That's my job.
Yes, sir.
But the biggest solution that you have given to them is to bring them together and put them in front of me, so that I have an opportunity of understanding what is their problem. We need to spend 90% of the time understanding the problem.
Absolutely.
And 10% you leave it to me. I have some erudition and some experience. I'll do that.
Sir, so you are technically our human intelligence master of the day. So thanks for being here and sharing your insightful knowledge. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. I think it's been a wonderful and warm conversation.
Same here, sir.
And somewhere around after 2/3 of the conversation, you have put me on a tangent of emotion. That depends on questions. I always tell everyone that answering a question is very easy. Raising the question is extremely important.
Sir, even at EY, we believe better the questions, better the answers. So this is questioning abilities also.
So the credit goes to you.
Not actually.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.